Okay, so good afternoon. Hopefully everyone is staying with us here, having caffeine if you need it. I think there's a lot of people here that were really looking forward to this part of the day. So we're gonna have our pitch competition. How it went for us at 76Capital. We called for companies. We had our deadline. Very ironically, we had 76 companies that applied. We had about 15 more that applied after the deadline that unfortunately we couldn't bring them in on this. But we got it down to 6 finalists. You're gonna hear from them today, and we're gonna have 3 winners. Cash prizes total of $10,000, 5 for the winner, $3,000, and then $2,000. And then how we're gonna run this, each pitch company has 4 minutes of presentation and then 4 minutes of Q&A. And we're gonna go through the 6 companies. Our judges are gonna deliberate, and then we'll hand out the big old checks. I'm gonna bring out our judges. Let me make sure we're ready. Ready? So, you wanna go first? All right. So first up, person that helped build the house we're in, Ryan Howard. All right. Our second judge is going to be Ralph Sampson. And then we have Jen Fox from Bryn Mawr Trust. And our last judge is Jeff Kunowski from ArizonaState University Global Sport Institute. So, are we all ready to go? I'll call you up. So, all right, we all ready? Yeah. All right. All right, so first pitch is Jason Fox, founder of EarBuds.
Thanks. How's everybody doing? All right, well, it's an honor to be here. Hold on, there we go. Let's see if, there we go. All right, well, it's an honor to be here. My name is Jason Fox, and I'm the founder of EarBuds. So the idea actually for EarBuds actually came in my last career. I was playing in the NFL. It was the first game of the season. I was an offensive lineman with about 3 more chins than I have right now and doing a super boring lineman stretch routine. But Cam Newton was warming up right next to me. He had his headphones on. He was dancing. He was jamming. He was getting into the rhythm for a game. He was getting the crowd into it. And I just couldn't help but notice. I was like, man, there's 85,000 people here. There's millions more watching this game at home. And Cam's an individual with millions of social media followers. How many people would want to be in his head, want to be in his headphones right now? And it was really an idea I just couldn't get out of my head, whether it was watching other sports, whether it was watching NBA, watching the Olympics, watching X Games. And I remember when I was retiring in 2016, watching the Summer Olympics with Michael Phelps. I don't know if you guys remember that moment, but he was preparing the same type of environment right before his race. And I said, man, this would be a perfect EarBuds moment. And the next day, Twitter said that 23 million people tweeted at him specifically asking him what he was listening to in that moment. You fast forward to today, the last 2 Super Bowl media days, it was the #1 question asked on Super Bowl media day. What do you listen to get ready before the game? What do you listen to on your pregame playlist? So we created EarBuds. There's a little lag on this little clicker. So what is EarBuds? It is a social music platform revolved about sharing music in real time. So you can listen along with your favorite music curators, whether they're athletes, whether they're entertainers, whether they're artists, or even just your friends in social network, your coworkers. Or you can share your music live to broadcast that out to the world. And you can tap and save music with just the touch of a button. And there's like a 5-second lag here. So how does it work? So EarBuds is a complete provider and hardware agnostic platform that allows you to share your music. We partnered and integrated with both Spotify and Apple Music. So you just download our app. You can sync your Spotify or Apple Music account or both. And then it preloads all your existing content, and you can search the entire catalogs. And then you can share it. And like I said, we're completely agnostic, so Apple Music listeners can listen along with Spotify and vice versa. To my knowledge, we're the only people that have that technology. So look inside the app. EarBuds is a social network like any other social platform out there. We're built on a follower-following model so you can follow your favorite athletes, your favorite curators, and you can listen along with them and in real time. And once you're listening along, you can chat, you can interact, you can collaborate on playlists, you can save songs back to your platform, and we're just built voiceover, which we haven't released yet, so that the host can actually talk and have a more intimate experience. And if you miss the real-time listening along, you can go back and access that past content from their profile. Hey, what was Tom Brady listening to before the game? What was LeBron listening to before the game? You can go back and access that past content. So even with the industry fully leaned into algorithms, research shows that 82% of music is still discovered from your friends and social network. Yet the number one way people currently share music is through texting screenshots. And a distant second is actually sending YouTube links. It's mostly because of that. Your friends might have, a different provider than you. So we're basically removing all walls and all borders to allow music sharing possible. And really the opportunity is huge. There's over 50 million paid subscribers on Spotify and Apple Music alone in the US, and that number is closer to 200 million worldwide. And there's 50% of millennials that are actively looking for new music each month and updating their playlists every month. So EarBuds is, we wanted to provide value to every part of the industry, whether it's with the providers, whether it's with the labels, whether it's with the athletes, the sports teams, brands, partners, everyone. And so we can really sit at the center of the ecosystem and just provide value for everyone. The value for sports teams, we're helping connect sport and culture. We are allowing them to grow their brands by showcasing their athletes' music. We can show targeted demographics about their listening history, so that helps with retargeting. And it's actually probably the biggest one that they care the most about is we opened up a whole new category for sponsorships, which we're already in the process of doing. Oh man, don't do that to me. We're done? Oh man.
We got judges' questions.
All right. So, Jason, how was EarBuds marketing itself, and what's your guys' strategy kind of moving forward?
So right now we're partnering with athletes, entertainers, artists. Honestly, we have some of the biggest names in the games that are investors in our company already. Like we have probably half the NFL quarterbacks on the platform, and Patrick Mahomes, Baker Mayfield, they're investors in it. They're actively promoting it. And then we found a really creative way, and this is what I was going to get to on the very next point, was where labels are now coming to us wanting to debut new music. And I want to push this new content on Tom Brady's pregame playlist, on LeBron's pregame playlist. And then we go to brands too and say, hey, how would you like to be co-branded right here in this moment? And so then we can go to these athletes that they're already sharing their music on other platforms. And now we can get them paid opportunities from labels, from brands to share their music. So, and that's not only is that motivating every part of the industry, but it also helps us scale, and it's another revenue model for us.
So I have a quick question. So when I was on my Spotify playlist, I saw that Barack Obama has his playlist in there, both from 2018 and 2019. Mm-hmm. So how do you distinguish what you're doing from what Spotify may already be able to do?
So that's a very static playlist, right? So he posted that playlist. In ours, you're synchronized down to the 100th of a second, so you're listening along with them. So if you see Barack Obama on TV, or if you see an athlete on TV, or an artist, or whoever it is, you're real-time listening along with them. Another thing how we're different is that's just Spotify users. We're provider agnostic, so whether you're Apple Music or Spotify alike, you can listen together. And then Spotify and Apple Music have zero social features. I mean, they don't allow you to chat. They obviously don't have voiceover, which we just built. We can provide a much more intimate listening experience than what they can provide.
So with so much of your business model based on the, I guess the high profile aspects and the athletes here, how do you keep them accountable to update their playlists, for this purpose? And what does that process look like to actually create and curate that playlist? Who does that?
So, I mean, right now we say we soft launch, but Patrick Mahomes has shared his playlist, before every game this season. And I haven't had to ask him or to remind him. He's actively doing that. We now have athletes coming to us saying, man, this is the coolest thing. I can't say names yet because there's a lot of things that aren't, but I mean, across NBA, Major League Baseball, the PGA, even overseas stars, and even artists as well. I mean, I've been contacted from some of the coolest hip hop artists in the game, like, this is the coolest thing in the world. And then when I can talk to them and show them how to monetize it, is like, look, man, labels will pay you, brands are coming in to sponsor these playlists, and we have probably closer to 15, 20 of those already in line for some of the biggest stars out there. So that's just kind of icing on the cake.
You got about 30 seconds. So competition-wise, and how are you different than your competition, and what's the next steps for what you're doing?
Good question. So there's a few other people that tried to do stuff similar to us, but they've tried to do their own licensing deals, which would be a direct competitor to Spotify or Apple Music, and that requires tens of millions of dollars to, one, to get the rights to stream that music, and two, to be able to launch it. But since we're partnered and integrated with Spotify and Apple Music, I think that's more, they're an ally of us. So I don't really think there's anyone that's approached it in the same space as us, but there's several that have tried to do it on their own. But we have the big dogs backing us, which I feel much better about. All right, thank you.
Thumbs up. All right, so next up, Lauren Foundos, founder of FORTE. And I have it on my phone.
How do I get it up? Oh, there we go. Not yet. There we go. Cool. Perfect. Hi, my name is Lauren Foundos. I'm the founder of FORTE. FORTE is both a tech company and a live and on-demand fitness subscription streaming service. So think Netflix, but for boutique fitness classes. So these are screenshots of actual classes that are streamed on FORTE. As you see, we offer a wide variety of content from bars, spinning, running, dance, from New York, Philly, Miami, and all across the country. And we also distribute our content into 4,000 gyms in 40 countries. So fitness is booming. US fitness industry revenues are $32 billion, with over 42% of that now comprised of boutique fitness classes. Of the 59 million gym goers in the US, 63% of those are saying that they use a digital platform to also work out and stream at home. And by 2022, the global digital fitness market is expected to reach $27 billion. And lastly, the beloved unicorn of the space, Peloton, IPO this month at $8 billion. So the problem we're trying to solve is two-pronged. We're B2B2C. So for studios, they have the content and community, but they're limited by time, location, and lack the technical prowess to even begin building a streaming platform. And for consumers, they want access to a wide variety of content at an affordable price and at their convenience. So the solution is obviously FORTE. So for the 153,000 gyms around the world, we've built a proprietary, fully automated hardware and software streaming solution. We spent 2 years developing this technology. This is our true secret sauce. We have developed the only turnkey end-to-end live streaming solution on the market. So with streaming, the studios can make money far beyond the 30 bodies that can physically attend their class. And then most people, they don't have a gas station within 20 miles of their house, let alone access to, the hottest fitness trends and workouts. So for consumers, we developed a subscription streaming platform where they can access thousands of live and on-demand fitness classes anytime, anywhere. So our team is obviously rich with experience. We formerly holding C-suite roles at Kickstarter and the New York Islanders. Our COO, Toby, who is here in the crowd, spent 20 years building, scaling, and selling multiple companies. I spent over a decade working on Wall Street trading bonds, and I was a 2-time All-American field hockey player and went on to play at the University of Maryland. Working out obviously fuels the core of my existence, so we aspire to make our users feel the same way. So here's how it works. FORTE partners with top studios around the country. The studios pay us $10,000 then to license our streaming technology. And then from there, we hardwire 3 to 5 cameras in the studio walls. We put a server there on site. When the instructor's about to begin teaching, the automation turns on all 5 cameras in the room, rotates around for that specific class at that time, and shuts itself off at the end of class. So this automation we call our Autobot, live produces classes all day, every day from coast to coast with no human operators. All of our classes are streamed live and then available on demand seconds later. If you reserve a spot for an upcoming live class, the instructor knows you're taking it. They're cheering you on remotely. And then we also have completed the integration of wearables so you could track your progress in real time and complete on our live leaderboards. So our users are using this at home, at the gym, and on the go. This slide isn't coming up, but so our competitive landscape, I like to think more of FORTE like Uber and our competition like the Taxi Limousine Commission. We're much more agile. We don't own real estate. We don't have to manage talent. If we see something come up here in Shanghai that's amazing, we can build and ship them hardware and get them streaming to the platform overnight. Trends change quickly in fitness, so we don't have to come up with the next best thing. We're just the arms dealer powering these guys. So our business model is 2-tiered. Our main revenue driver is our subscription service, where we have monthly and annual subscribers. And then our studios, then, as I mentioned, pay us $10,000 to license the tech. From there, we rev share 50-50, and then we pay them out based on minutes watched per month. We also distribute our content into 4,000 gyms in 40 countries, so 24-hour fitness, Anytime Fitness Gold Gym here in the US, as well as residential and hotel building gyms and through corporate wellness programs. So we're scaling massively. We have over 3 million minutes watched to date. Our users are streaming on average 12 classes a month. We have over 12,000 subscribers, 40% of which are paid and the others are free. Our trial to subscriber rates are great, and we've spent zero to acquire customers. Our users are loving the product, and yeah, people are saying that we're making their lives better, and I didn't make anybody's life better on Wall Street, so that's been the most amazing thing of this whole experience.
Have you considered licensing this technology out to other industries?
Yeah, so I only had 4 minutes, but we actually have another revenue model where we're basically doing a SaaS and white label solution to enable people to stream anything. Basically, if you want to stream, you build a TV production studio, which is expensive, but because we know exactly what's going to happen in the classes and the voice of the trainer, we can automate the whole process. So yeah, so we're actually working to license this to big gym brands like that exist around the country so they can stream their classes. Everyone wants to have digital content now, like Peloton, and these brands with 1,000 locations, they should be streaming too.
How do you go about like vetting those different studios, or like you said, you kind of mentioned the big gyms, like who would you look at, what would allow you to go with one over the other? Obviously, if
yeah, we kind of like a matrix of things that we look at. So locations obviously means more people that know the brand, but if it's oversaturated in every state, then that's also not attractive either. We want it to be in something that people really want to get access to. Obviously, some of the gyms bring a lot of star power to the table, and people care what celebrities or athletes for that matter are doing, and so that's another kind of way that we look at it, and then we kind of just go down from there. Because we have, in our platform, we actually curate it and pick the ones that we think are the best in each category. So maybe 10 in each category that caters to each personality. But because we have over thousands of gyms that have reached out to us, because we're the only guy that what we can do is how we're kind of going into this SaaS people. So now if we don't want them in our Netflix sort of model, we can also provide them the ability to stream it into their own app to their own people as well.
So my wife is a yoga instructor, and sometimes she gets paid per head. Other times it's a flat rate.
Yep.
Can you talk a little bit about the incentive for the instructors and how that works? Are they getting paid per, for an additional audience, or how does that?
Yeah, currently we do the deal with the studio, and then the studio is required to pay the instructor. But what we're finding that's interesting is once an instructor begins teaching to a streaming audience, the 20 people in the room don't become as exciting as the opportunity to be able to, impact the whole world, right? With streaming, they can reach far beyond the people that are there. It's important that they obviously compensate the instructors. The CEO of these big businesses are not on Instagram talking to these people, so it's important that they build the relationship with the instructor and compensate them accordingly. And the opportunity to make money is far beyond the brick and mortar, obviously, with streaming. The most downloaded fitness app is a girl from Instagram that has, 0 brick and mortar. So I think those big brands are realizing that they need to adapt.
So I have a different kind of question. So now that you're streaming all these classes that have music,
Yep.
do you run into any of the license issues licensing issues like Peloton did?
Oh, yes. I think it's important to play the real music, the music that excites the instructor. Obviously, in dance, it has to be that exact specific song. We are working to solve that. Peloton has sort of spearheaded some of those conversations in solving that. So right now, we're paying all the licensing people that we can. We're continuing to negotiate. And yeah, obviously, it's an important part of the music and honestly a conduit to selling more music. The other question people ask a lot too is about videoing real people. If you go to one of our studios, you would actually be in the class. So we do create a dead zone in the studios for that as well. And then by natural selection, there's people that love to go front and center and rip their shirts off and go, be the star of the show. So that also works. Those are the two kind of legal questions we always get asked.
About 30 seconds. What's the long-term goals and what are your needs right now?
Yeah, our long-term goals are obviously to scale and give the ability for all these brands to reach far beyond, to make working out affordable and accessible. The biggest gym in the country is Planet Fitness, and they don't offer any classes, so really to make it more engaging, and studios have done a good job of that. And our plans are obviously to IPO and become a billion-dollar company like Peloton. That's the goal, and to scale the SaaS business and really just help these gyms digitalize their business and get online. Make people more fit, so start working out.
All right, thank you, Lauren. Great work. So it's going over to Ian. Perfect. Okay, next up, so our third presenter, Ian Goldberg, founder of iSport360.
Judges? All right, hi everybody. My name is Ian Goldberg. I'm a local sports dad, coach for my two young daughters, and I'm the founder of iSport360. We have a $17 billion problem in our country. That's the size of our youth sports industry. And if you ask the biggest brands in sports, ESPN, the NBA, MLB, US Soccer, what is their greatest challenge, they will tell you they are struggling to change the culture in youth sports. And I'm here to tell you that at iSport360, we're doing this every day. That's because we launched the first ever kids-centric youth sports platform. We already have 100,000 players, coaches, and parents on the platform. We drive between 5,000 and 8,000 user sessions per month. And if you've looked at the youth sports technology space at all, the first generation of pioneers and huge companies in this space were all built for the adults that run youth sports programs, not for the kids. Our company was built for the kids. So on our platform, kids and their coaches and parents can set goals, they can share feedback, they can share practice assignments, they can share rewards and stickers and praise, they can track player progress throughout the season. And overall, our goal is to foster healthy team communication and culture and put kids at the center of the conversation. And everything we do is compliant with child privacy laws. We also have a bi-weekly newsletter that we launched 2 years ago. I like to call this a support group for sports parents and coaches. We write a lot of engaging, informative articles that use a lot of humor too. We have professional athletes who write for us. We have psychologists, educators. And the great thing is that Marriott actually signed on with us. 230 Marriott properties are advertising in our newsletter to reach the youth sports market. So how do we make money? We make money in 3 ways today. First, individual teams can sign up for a monthly subscription that costs $10 per month, and they can freeze that during their off season. Second, clubs, schools, and rec departments can sign up for an annual subscription, and those cost about $1,000 per year. And finally is our advertising model, and we're gonna be bringing on more advertisers in addition to Marriott. So we're gonna make $65,000 this year in our first year making revenue, and we project that we'll make $1 million next year. I wish I could spend more time talking about our partnerships, but we have some amazing partnerships with the biggest names in youth sports because of the void we're filling and because of our thought leadership. So the NBA, the Rangers, Team Snap, ESPN, Positive Coaching Alliance, these are all our distribution partners and will help get us out to the whole market. I'm also very proud of my list of investors and advisors. Most notable is hometown hero Howie Roseman from the Philadelphia Eagles, along with several Silicon Valley tech investors and a former San Francisco 49er player. So I'm here today to ask you to invest in the future of youth sports. We've raised $700,000 to date. I have a track record of increasing the valuation of this company, and we're pushing towards a strong Series A in 2020. But today, we are raising $500,000 to $1 million on convertible notes for our bridge round. And worth pointing out to everyone here that any individual in the United States that invests in a New Jersey startup gets 20% of that investment back from the state of New Jersey. So if you agree that youth sports is American culture, then I hope that you'll get involved and help us make some changes. Thank you.
So what is it that the newsletters cover? What kind of messages do the newsletters send out?
So we talk about themes such as why young athletes should be playing multiple sports. We talk about how sports parents can build better relationships with the coaches. We definitely talk a lot about empowering kids so they can take control of their own youth sports experience rather than having their parents drive the whole process. So lots of the hot topics in youth sports today.
So my question is coming from being a 15-year soccer mom and dealing with a lot of the coaches. So how are you ensuring that the coaches' feedback is constructive and positive and kind of moving away from the toxic culture that you often see?
So we really try to nurture, that's a complex relationship between coaches and parents. And we really try to start by setting goals and expectations at the beginning of the season so that coach and parent are on the same page. We then try to educate parents about what their role really should be, because parents today are very involved in their kids' sports, and in many ways that actually is an obstacle to their kids' development. So we feel like if we can give parents a positive role, like on our platform, the parent's main role is to share stickers, rewards, and praise with kids on the team and just reinforce what coach is saying. But if coach is giving feedback on our platform, it makes it much easier for sports parents to support and reinforce that.
You mentioned 100,000 views or subscribers. I didn't get quite what that was at $10 a month. First part of the question. The second part of the question, you said this year one, 65,000 in revenue to $1 million. That's pretty much a big gap. How are you going to get to that $1 million in revenue?
So our revenue just started in the last month or so. We just started collecting subscription revenue. So we have 100,000 newsletter subscribers on our platform. Of those people, 14,000 are using our app. So our newsletter is the best marketing tool we have to get people to our website, get people to our blog, educate people about the iSport 360 platform, and then convert as many of them as we can to subscriptions. We literally just launched the club subscription model, so our business-to-business model, on Monday of this week. So we're still early on in the revenue process.
Could you talk a little bit about the user experience? So from a coach's standpoint, if I'm coming home late after a game and I'm going to input this data, what does that process look like? How cumbersome is that? How much time does that take? And are you retaining individuals based on that?
Yes, so one of our missions was to save time for coaches. And as a coach, I can personally say, when I leave a practice or a game, there's always a bunch of thoughts that I want to share with the kids on my team, but I can't always catch up to them and their parents and stand at the fields forever. So using the app, you can go back to your car after a practice, after a game, after a tournament, literally spend 3 minutes sending some quick feedback to the kids, and the message will be conveyed rather than forgotten or lost. Then there's other tools we have, such as sharing stickers. You can do that as often as you want to. We have formal player evaluations, which take 5 minutes. They're very structured, very easy to use, which is a lot better than a player evaluation where you have to sit and write out paragraphs, you know. So that's how we try to save time for coaches, and that's the user experience. Okay, thanks everyone. Thank you.
All right, moving on to our fourth presenter. Please welcome Adam Jones, founder of Vici Sports. You got the clicker. I don't have the time on my phone.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Adam Jones, co-founder and CEO of Vici Sports. We're building a new type of sports television network that directly connects the team to the out-of-market or even overseas fan base. Our team has at least 3 decades of experience launching, scaling, even exiting media and technology companies, and it's helped us realize something of a paradox. The more popular the sports team, the harder it is to monetize and grow the amount of revenue that you're making on a revenue per fan per season basis. Because they're not in the stadium like this, and you can't sell them $100 hot dogs. Places like US and Asia. And so this is something of an existential crisis that we see for every major sports franchise as they pivot from being just a team to being a brand. But today, that's acutely felt by European soccer teams, which are our first customer. Let me put that in perspective. On average, the NFL makes about $60 to $80 per fan per season because most fans are in market. Top flight European soccer teams make somewhere between 10 and 20, despite the teams having a twice as longer season. And it's because so many of their fans are in places like US and Asia. If they can close that gap, that really represents at least a $40 billion opportunity over the next decade by just getting better at monetizing their massive fan bases in the US and Asia. So what do? We looked at this and said, there's 40 billion reasons to create Vici TV. Let's take assets that the teams have already invested in, specifically around digital content, specifically around their fan community. One interesting behavior around teams like Paris Saint-Germain, for those that don't know, I'm not just a huge Emirates, flying. I'm wearing my customer's jersey. One of the things they're doing is actually mapping out everywhere out of home where their fans watch sports. Let's take their brand sponsors and let's create literally a global TV network. So that can sound a little abstract. Let me put this in perspective. As we're sitting here right now, one of the most prestigious tournaments in the world, the Champions League, is happening in Europe right now. This team is playing. In Midtown Manhattan, there's about 200 people dressed like me, minus the jacket, rooting for our customer Paris Saint-Germain. But an hour before that game, they weren't watching NBC, or in this case, TNT. They were watching Vici TV. They were watching content curated by their team for the event they were about to see. They were getting free beer from our team's beverage sponsor, who can now reach through the TV and give away pitchers at halftime. And they were seeing themselves in some cases on TV. There's a user-generated content opportunity as well. And the reason this is possible is because we're not reliant on the traditional stack around broadcast television. We're not using so-called dumb pipes that focus everyone to see the same thing at the same time. We use smart pipes, ironically, probably the smartest pipe, the internet, to deliver a personalized content experience for the fan before, halftime, and after games. And for the team, a new channel to make more money from more fans with assets they've already built. We're already working with and talking to the largest sports organizations in the world today, soccer. These are teams that, again, why do they talk to me? They don't know me. I'm not from Europe. It's because we're a startup. It's because they've reached complete local saturation. Like all future growth for these companies relies on them getting better and monetizing more fans in more places. From a Paris Saint-Germain, you're talking about over 4.5 million minutes watched from fans in Asia. We've rolled out in Zhuangzhou, China, London, New York, Montreal, now 5 more markets here in the States. The platform is now live in 11 cities on 3 continents. But I do want to bring this full circle. I realize that we are in Philadelphia, and it's somewhat blasphemous to talk about football and not the Eagles, and especially the Sixers. As of this season, now NBA teams can act like the big European soccer giants, go overseas, land incremental sponsors, and make more money for more fans, which is why I'm also proud to announce that we're also working with the Knicks and the Wizards on a long-term partnership to do exactly what we're doing with the European soccer giants. Thank you.
Thank you.
So how many bars are you guys in right now, and how's that taking off right now?
Sure, so, and just to clarify, our customers are the soccer clubs. So the clubs pay us about $1 per month, or about $10 a season per unique fan we help them reach, to generate $20, $30, $40 over time through sponsorships, through direct merchandising, through subscriptions that they already have. So today we're actually in 11 venues in 11 markets around the world. About most of those are in the States, in Miami, LA, but including international destinations as well, New York, not Philly yet. But what's great, and just to clarify, we're not pitching bars here. What's great about these clubs is they've done their hard work already. They're making the content, and they've already mapped. They've effectively built 100-node bar networks all around the world where their fans congregate. Last point I'll make is this is not exclusively an out-of-home experience. We're starting there to build awareness with the fan, but ultimately this is, as a fan, we really want to build, give fans their own personalized sports center, effectively. So as opposed to watching generic talking head pregame coverage, people switch to their phone anyway. Let's give them the same degree of personalization they're getting on Twitter. Like, my sports Twitter doesn't look like yours. Why are we all watching the same sports center?
With your customers being so far removed from this interaction, how are you, one, measuring success and impressions, and then how are you delivering that to create, essentially a successful outcome for them?
So I say, to a degree, that's probably at the 100 or 1,000x compared to a lot of U.S. franchises. The teams are actually pretty close to, let me put it differently, they've maxed out locally. So literally all future growth is relying on, let's just take the States, getting more fans in the States and monetizing them better. That's why they actually have offices in New York. Yesterday, we were pitching this to Manchester City, the reigning champions of the Premier League. And so every club's a little different. In our work with Real Madrid, it's really been around capturing data. And so one thing we learned is through this platform, there are also interactive contests where fans can enter for free. We've measured about a 20% conversion rate of a given audience. And what's even more important is 2/3 of the people that convert are people that are not individually identifiable by the team. So that's one way they think about it. From PSG's perspective, it's really about reach and giving their almost giving themselves their own TV station globally, and it's really all about reaching their biggest fans. This spring, we drove about 4.5 million minutes of aggregate minutes watched by their fan base.
What is your year-to-date revenue? How do you create revenue? What's your year-to-date revenue, and what you're projecting in the next year?
Year-to-date, it's been around $11,000, but the way $11,000. We launched with our first customer this spring, which was Paris Saint-Germain. Over the summer, we met with 9 or 10 of the top 20 European soccer clubs in the world, many of whom were in stateside. And so as we look at our risk-adjusted pipeline, we've gone from, or especially from a total deal value perspective, we've gone from about 100K in terms of annualized revenue to well over $1 million, based on how we structure our pricing, which is really around how many of these fans we're helping the club reach. So what we've actually proven is clubs will pay us, like Paris Saint-Germain will pay us between 50 cents to $1 per unique fan that we help them reach, so that they can upsell, merch, indirectly monetize that fan base via sponsorships, throw a Jordan brand logo on TV, literally, and realize $2, $3, $4, $5 in revenue. So right now we're in the stage of the business where we're building the pipes, so to speak, right? We're building that network on a global basis so that they can monetize. That makes sense?
So who's your competition, and how do you defend them?
Comcast. today. Maybe Facebook in the future, right? It's really anyone today that is trying to own the pre-match, halftime, post-match experience. That said, talking with some of the Lift Labs and talking with Comcast, they actually realize an opportunity to enhance and make more personalized their pre-match experience. So I say that half-heartedly because they actually may be a partner as well.
Okay, our fifth presenter, we have Evan Wimer, C360 Technologies. Evan.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Evan Wimer, and I am the Chief Executive Officer of C360. And I'm excited to share with you how C360 is personalizing the sports viewing experience through our immersive video technology. C360 really is the way that sports were meant to be viewed. Ed Placey from ESPN, senior coordinating producer, has said that C360's technology is unprecedented, honestly. And as a young company, we're very excited and humbled the fact that we've already been nominated 3 different times for Sports Emmy Awards in the last 2 years. Many of you are probably already familiar with C360. Our technology currently is embedded in the pylons, the line-to-game pylons, in NFL games on ESPN's Monday Night Football, as well as all the prime ABC and ESPN college games. What's interesting is the NFL has actually said this is the most definitive view that they've ever had from the sideline. So this is our first season doing it, and we're extremely excited about the kind of results that we're already getting. But what really sets C360 apart from everyone else is that we're putting the control of the game into the hands of the fans. And everything that's been talked about here about personalization, about gamification, we're excited to share with you how we're currently doing this today. So we're able to stream actually live games, and through our video controller over mobile devices, every individual fan can pan and tilt that camera view from the position that they have selected. They can also select multiple cameras, C360 cameras, in these venues and be able to control also the panning and tilting of those views. They're also able to actually zoom in to the player that they want to watch, and they can choose who they want to watch at any time, real time, in an actual game. And if they want to sit back for a few minutes and actually watch the game camera, if you will, or the broadcast camera, they can actually click on a small little icon that takes a pip screen and puts it onto the mobile device, so they can go back to kind of the traditional view if they so choose. There's a live game clock and score feed that's incorporated right into that stream at all times, just like in the broadcast. And if you really want to drill down on your favorite player, you can pull up player specs or stats in real time. What we're about to launch, though, is really, we've been talking about where the future of sports is going. We believe C360 is that answer. We're introducing player tracking. So you'll be able to touch the screen of your mobile device and follow the player that you choose to in that game in real time. So it's your own personalized experience. You'll also be able to launch AR stats that trail behind or float over top of that player so that you can really see the kind of biometrics and the things that are happening in real time in those live games. If you want to buy the jersey of your favorite player without leaving the event, you can do that right from C360. And of course, this has been a hot topic for us today and will remain for some time. We are the platform that we can integrate live micro betting into that C360 experience. So you watch the player you want to watch, when you want to watch them, and you can actually follow the stats and make those micro bets right from our platform. And I'm sure that you're going to work up quite an appetite whenever you're doing all that, so you can order food live from that. I will tell you that we're actually working in 10 different leagues right now. Our rights holders, our primary customers are listed down the side there, ESPN being the largest. And we'll have done 120 live events, paid events by the end of this year. And I'll probably answer some of the questions here the judges have, but we are driving a lot of value into the rights holders who are our customers and pay us to be there. So thank you very much.
I have a question. What are kind of the long and the short-term goals for you guys with the company?
So we're really scaling the market right now. 120 games this year, 120 matches, whatever. This year, we're looking to grow that out next year to over 500. So scaling that, being in those opportunities is really what puts our linear product, which you saw in that pylon, in each of those events, which gives us an entree to be able to actually push that to the OTT. So we have a linear delivery, which provides value to the, like any other camera, to the broadcaster. And then the long term is that we actually create that OTT platform. People they have their own personalization and experience.
So what is your revenue model and who are your actual customers? I think I heard about 3 different types.
Yeah, so ESPN is our largest customer, but each of these that are listed, CBS Sports, Fox Sports, DAZN, and Amazon, are all paying customers. And so currently right now, we're at 1.6 million in sales. We should hit a little close to 2 million before the end of the year. And we look to grow that over the next 3 years, look to hit 50 million by 2023. And ultimately, we are positioning ourselves for probably a major acquisition, but the tech companies that are in this space right now are paying a lot of attention to what we're currently doing.
You mentioned that you could log in and see your view, camera view, or the network camera view. So that means you guys got to put cameras in arenas across the country, and people have to operate those cameras. So there's jobs creation as well involved in that. So your 1 point whatever, you got expense money on that part as well. How does that work when you come down to your numbers?
So, great question. The beauty of this is we get hired like a traditional broadcast camera would. So we put our cameras in place, much like a RoboCam, and it provides that back to ESPN. So we get paid to be there like any other vendor that provides those cameras. The same way the industry works today. We have what's called an enhanced replay, so we can back up in time and reposition the camera so we can look at something that maybe other cameras had missed. But the benefit is that there's production value out of what we do today, but we're in position for them, the rights holders, to leverage that into the future so that they can actually build out onto their own OTT platforms, the personalization of live sports.
Is there any proprietary technology in the camera system or in the operating system that you own?
Yeah, so to be clear, even though we have our own proprietary cameras, we're really a software company. Our IP is wrapped around the software that drives all of this. We have several patents around tracking in immersive video. Those were our first 2 patents. We have several patents that have been awarded as well in terms of sharing your immersive view with somebody on the other side of the world as if you were sitting right next to them. So that kind of social aspect is something that we've already been awarded. So we have a number of patents that have been awarded, but primarily all through the software.
Do you guys work with any individual teams or just through the league, basically?
Not currently. I mean, we've worked a little bit. We have a couple of NHL teams that we've had relationships with, but primarily the rights holders, the broadcasters are who we work directly with, but we're always looking to expand. Love to work with the Phillies. And anyway, I mean, we haven't worked with the teams yet, but I'm sure we'll start to do that soon. Thank you, everyone.
Is this one here?
Yeah, that'll advance it.
All right, our last presenter. Y'all ready? All right, let's welcome Oliver from Whistle.
Hey everybody, hey Philly.
Thanks for having us. Okay. Let's get started. Okay. Hey, Ryan, Ralph, what do we share in common? Other than our really cool kicks, we share something in common with everybody in this room. We have suffered in silence. And what I mean by that, if we can recall previous events we've been to, a time where we've gone to conferences just like this, except we didn't have the tools available to book, pay, and manage our travel plans via our smartphone. We didn't have the tools available to hail a cab, and we didn't have tools available to communicate with our employees and our teams without being in the office. Now, at Whistle, our seasoned team have identified a global, unmet demand and supply need. And we are satisfying that need through Whistle, which was born in 2017. And without Whistle, more games will be canceled, fewer sports will be played, and teams will be dropped altogether. Meet Dana. Dana is responsible for just one of the over 200 million amateur sports games played domestically here in the United States. She's sifting through messy paper forms, she's calling other regional leagues, and she's having to share databases just to find a referee so tonight's game can take place. To the left, you've got Dave. Dave is busy logging his games and his hours on his laptop. Without logging those games, he doesn't get paid. Dave depends on his extra income each month. And that's why he chose refereeing as a potential hobby to get started in. And as an amateur referee, he spends hours and hours logging these games, and he has to wait weeks, sometimes months, to get paid by check. Check, yuck. And this is where Whistle comes in. Whistle is an on-demand marketplace application that connects first-time and experienced officials with organized sports events based on their location. We remove all barriers, all inefficiencies to get officials the games they need and to drive inclusion, inspire, and accelerate advancement. We're delivering total freedom from the laptop. Whistle is absolutely free to get started. We take a service fee based on every transaction that takes place in the app. So we get paid based on every referee assigned to each and every game. So Michael here, who has Whistle, he can benefit by getting the games he needs right at his fingertips, while Dave is still logging his games. After the game's completed, Michael can communicate with the organizers. He can share feedback, which is great. The leagues can reinforce the positives, and they can take action on any negatives. We've all heard about the abuse. Well, for the first time, we're giving officials the tools they need to share that feedback directly with the leagues themselves. And what's more, Michael will get paid via direct deposit without having to wait for a check to come in the mail. Meanwhile, Dana, she can get on with all the other heavy tasks that are required in her role in the organization while we do the heavy lifting through Whistle. One less thing to worry about. To date, we launched our beta product in mid-2018, and we have partnered with the likes of Sports Engine, acquired customers organically, such as Nike, and next year we have some really ambitious growth plans. I appreciate we've got to end. I'm happy to answer any questions. Why we're here quickly is because we want to use the prize money to set up a foundation to help underserved youth get into officiating and to stay connected through Whistle. Thank you so much for listening. Excited to answer your questions, guys.
You kind of mentioned, so like who are the partners, like what is it from the different levels, like what kind of different levels do you touch? Do you touch from just the amateur side of things, the professional side? And who are those? What leagues or organizations are you guys kind of associated with?
So right now, we're targeting amateur and recreational leagues. Initially, when we set out, we thought we'd build an inclusive service for everybody. We beta tested with the California Interscholastic Federation, and we found out, hey, we don't want to deal with the interscholastic leagues right now because there's too many barriers. Chief financial officers still want to write checks, which they've done for 18 years. They won't change their ways. So we shifted gears and we focused on the large untapped market where we can get the quick wins and we can execute. And that's within amateur and rec leagues. Because these leagues, they are in desperate need for whistle because they're the ones that are affected before any other playing level. So right now, our user split's around 54% game providers and 46% officials, and a range in average age of 16 to 45.
Is there any kind of vetting mechanism or application for the refs as they are looking to make additional income? How does that process work? How do you manage that?
So unlike other services, we remove those barriers. There's heavy costs involved to get started. Some organizations require annual membership dues. We want to drive inclusion. We want to get more people into officiating. We want younger officials because the officials are aging out. And that means there's an alarming shortage for the majority of these leagues, not just here in the United States, but worldwide. We have a background check on our service, so it means that all officials go through a nationwide or county search, and it takes less than 60 seconds. So if there's anybody that shouldn't be out there refereeing, then they won't be allowed on the system.
So you said you started in 2017. What does your revenue look like, and what's the projection?
So in 2018, we were pre-revenue. 2019, we have started reporting revenues. Up until October, I was the only full-time member of the team. This year, we projected $50,000. We're already at $60,000. We have a 30-month plan to generate $3 million in transactions that will get us to a Series A in 2021.
Do you have any issues with, say, a league has the referee and they haven't collected all their money yet, but the ref wants his money after the game and they don't have all the funding deposited into the account to make their payment? You have any issues with that right now?
We've never had that issue. So we essentially, if you think about when you make a hotel reservation or you're on Airbnb and you book your stay, essentially they'll take a pre-authorization payment. That's what we do. So we hold that money in escrow until the game has finished, and then we release it 48 hours after the game.
What sports are you guys in? Is it just like basketball or just all across the board?
We're in 13 sports right now. Your most popular sports: baseball, basketball, softball, soccer, football. However, we've had the demand from the co-ed leagues around the country, most notably Zog Sports and Club Walker, that need kickball and volleyball, so we'll be adding those sports next year. Our most popular sports so far are flag leagues in football, a few baseball leagues in the San Francisco area, and soccer. But next year we're launching a nationwide exclusive partnership with National Flex Football. So just that partnership alone, we'll be operating in 15 states and 30 cities.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Okay, so we have our top three. After deliberation and arm wrestling, Ryan won the arm wrestling, of course. So when your company's called up from the pitchers, in third place, iSport 360. And then if Ryan, we'll get Ryan or Ralph to autograph it for you.
Okay, beautiful. Can I deposit this?
No. Do you want us to? Wherever. meet back after this, and I'll get you the paperwork. So, congrats. Yeah, it's yours.
Thanks very much.
No problem. Round of applause. Man, he is headed right to the bank. Okay. In second place, it was FORTE.
Thank you so much. Yeah, do you want the
No, I'm going to get an autograph for you.
Okay. You take it?
I'm not, you don't want my autograph, Lauren.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And then,
She don't want to wear ours, she wants it over there.
and then meet backstage right after.
Thank you so much.
Congrats.
I really appreciate it.
All right, and so the winner of our first ever pitch competition as part of our annual Sports Innovation Conference was another 360, C360. Congrats.
Thank you.
Cool. Congrats. Good job. Great job.